You're listening to Sports and More with Chris and Tom.
Welcome back. It's the guys with the face for radio and the voices for a silent movie.
This is Sports and More with Chris and Tom. I'm Chris.
And I am Tom. And we have quite the episode for you tonight. We're going to get into some super topics, as you may be able to tell by the title and or thumbnail of this video slash audio recording. I never know what to say there because the audio goes both ways. Yeah. It's just the videos, all the other YouTube, whatever. But Chris, you wanted to get us started tonight, so I'll go ahead and let you lead us in here.
Yeah, so if you haven't lived under a rock or don't pay attention to the news, you may not know that Russia has indeed invaded Ukraine, and we are looking at a state of war potentially developing in Ukraine, which could have the potential of bringing in the rest of the world into it, which, again, we've not seen in our lifetimes and we've not seen since the 1940s. So with that in my mind, I thought we should take a moment to give a quick prayer. So if you all, with me, remove your hats or whatever, bow your eyes, bow your heads, close your eyes. Sorry, I flipped that one around, but I will say a quick prayer. Dear Lord, I thank you for this evening. I thank you for having time when I be able to gather and talk, even though we're not in the same room and we're hours away. And I thank you for that. And I pray that you be with the leaders of Russia, Ukraine, and all the world right now as we are on the brink of a major confrontation, nay, a war that could ensue, that could engulf the whole world. And I ask that you be with our leaders to give them the strength and character to find peace in these times and find a way to not have us go to full-scale war. I know that Russia has already invaded Ukraine, but I ask that you guide them towards a path that can help end this conflict peacefully and swiftly. In your name, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you doing that. I know you had talked to me about that ahead of time, and we're definitely in a time where prayer is going to be a very, very strong thing for many across the world. So continue to pray daily, and as things may look bleak across the world, look upward, and always have that hope for the Lord doing His work.
Yeah. Hopefully these dark times lead to better times, and we may not see the plan as it's happening in front of us. So with that being said, let's get into our first topic for the day, and what really sparked this whole episode's idea. The Batman is scheduled to be released in movie theaters March 3rd. I know they advertise March 4th, but all the theaters are showing it March 3rd. I know this for a fact because there's like 8 different showings on March 3rd in Springfield alone. So if it's Springfield doing it, everyone's doing it. Let's just be honest. So everyone's hyped because it's another Batman movie because Batman's one of the big DC characters, one of the big superheroes overall. And really, this is the first big Batman movie, like just solo Batman movie since the Christopher Nolan trilogy. So everyone wants to know where this is going to sit in the Batman listing of movies. And I just want to let you all know, it's safe to assume this will not be a top 3 Batman movie of all time. So, because the top 3 Batman movies are all the Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale Batman movies. And that's not even a stretch. That's just accurate. It's not even close. Like the length between the gulf between the Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale Batman movies and every other Batman movie before it or after it is massive. It is the Pacific Ocean of a gulf. It is huge. There is no competition. So I think we need to.
So this is kind of like where I've been with Batman, because I kind of came in like I didn't watch any of the old original Batmans or anything like that. Not the Michael Keaton Batman or any of the other ones. So the only baseline I have is the Dark Knight Rises, Batman Begins, Dark Knight. That's it. Like, so here's where Batman has been for me, and I don't know if you can. It's here.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, Ben Affleck wasn't terrible, but it's like
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not even on the screen.
Yeah,
you're
not,
right. And it's not that Ben Affleck was necessarily bad,
right.
but those other three movies were so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It was impossible to live up to that, and the only way really to have done that was through the Batman versus Superman movie to kind of get it on trying to get it up to that playing field, I suppose, by bringing in Henry Cavill.
Yeah. And Ben Affleck's Batman was a completely different style of Batman. It's more of the Frank Miller style, where it's more a Batman likes his job because he's a sociopath who just happens not to kill people. Essentially, is how he's played in those movies. Where Christian Bale plays the more traditional Batman, who hates the fact he is Batman, but he knows that's the only way to save Gotham is for him to be Batman, and which is a much easier character for people to fall in love with, and especially with how he portrayed him, which is awesome. I mean, I watched the old Batman movies. I've watched some of the original Batman TV shows. Corny as all heck. They're corny. They don't fit Batman.
Most superhero movies kind of seemed like it, though, from like the 70s and forward.
Yeah, they're super corny. But the Batman cartoon show from the 92 through 95, you've probably never seen it.
I think I did recall seeing some reruns when I was a kid.
It was fantastic. That TV show was awesome. I remember watching it as a kid. Fantastic. But
I did enjoy that, because that was in the same time as like Spider-Man cartoon. I watched a lot of that, and then watched a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That was kind of like around that same time anyway that Batman was going on in the cartoon world anyway.
Well, and a little bit after that, you had Justice League. That Justice League movie came out. Justice League TV show, which is they used the same Batman essentially that they had in the Batman TV show, so it worked well. But for those of you who are wondering how I rank the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, number 3, Dark Knight Rises, is third on my list because I just don't think it's as strong as the other two. A lot of people will disagree with that, because they don't like Batman Begins as much. I like Batman Begins better. I like to see the beginning of the story and find out how we get the superheroes in the first place. And that's just a preference in my taste. And I'm not the biggest fan of how they did Dark Knight Rises. That's just me. Sorry, guys. It's just me. It wasn't as compelling. And number one by about 2 mountains, The Dark Knight, because Batman was awesome and Heath Ledger is Joker. It was spectacular. It was the best Batman movie. It might be the best superhero movie of all time.
Legendary performance by Heath Ledger. Like, I remember the story of him preparing for that role going into the release of the movie, how he more or less like locked himself in a hotel room for a month, only having the only interaction he really had was like having food delivered, because he was that much of a method actor, just getting into that character. And there was just so many people who did not know how he was going to show up for that role because they hadn't seen it up until shooting. And in the I think it's in the party scene where he kind of grabs Rachel's face, and the reason that she's actually like pulling away, the actress is pulling away, is because she hadn't seen him in full makeup. So she was legitimately scared. And all of that was improv by all the like the actions and physicality of it was improv by Heath Ledger. So she was just super out of the loop on what was going to happen. So he was that good that he actually terrified people on set.
I mean, he was fantastic, and unfortunately, the road did drive him into insanity, and he passed away taking pills to try to deal with the fact that he had gone insane trying to get into the mind of Joker, which you would if you just Joker's an insane character, and if you go method actor on it, you're going to go insane doing it. So sorry he lost his life before it was released, and he didn't get to see his work get appreciated for how good it was. But dang, no one's come close, and it's just that movie will be the best Batman movie probably for the next like 50 years, probably, because it's gonna be hard to pass that Batman movie up.
Yeah, I agree, and I think just what's also solidifying that is seeing the trailers for the new Batman movies. It's almost going back to that cheesiness. It seems that of Batman. It's not quite like the super looked up to action hero. It's kind of back to not really cheesy, but it's not. He doesn't seem like as much of an action hero. It's just kind of like it's an action movie happening around him. It is almost what the trailer makes it look out to be. And I could be completely wrong. I may see this one just to kind of see how it plays out in the whole world of Batman. But I'm already not impressed.
Yeah, I'm concerned just looking. I was concerned when I heard it was going to be Robert Pattinson. I know he's a good actor. People say he's a good actor. But I'm like, you cast Sparkly Man from Twilight to be Batman. You lost me there. That's where I got lost. Like I'm now confused as to why we have Sparkly Man playing a dark hero. Sorry guys, he may be a good actor, but you lost me there. There's a gap.
So the reason that Bales and Affleck worked for Batman, they both had iconic chins. Yes. I don't get that from Pattinson. So that's another thing not in his favor. He's not as strong of a male lead as you would want out of an action hero like that. You want him to be the large threat of a vigilante sort of a guy, but also you got to have the iconic chin like poking out of the mask, and it's not as it doesn't pop.
And perhaps the difference between Christian Bale and Robert Pattinson is he's not wearing hockey pads. Sorry, I love that line. What's the difference between you and me? I'm not wearing hockey pads. It's one of the few moments of humor in The Dark Knight. Okay, Dark Knight doesn't have a whole lot of humor. That was humorous.
Exactly.
In a very menacing tone of voice.
Right. So there's kind of our thoughts on the new Batman and how it ranks or how we expect it to rank among the existing Batmans. But what really kind of that really sparked this whole conversation that we want to have now in the next segment of what are our top 5 superheroes. And we're kind of like, I don't know about you, Chris, but I've got super as it a loose term. Like for me, it's like just movie heroes.
Okay. I mean,
it might be or comic book heroes or what have you. So.
I mean, mine was more or less like because of the X-Men and them being mutants, there's a whole debate among the comic book nerd fandom that Tom probably has never seen these conversations, which I have witnessed with some of the friends I have from Illinois College. Shout out Nick Homowin. Love you, man. I learned a lot about the comic book world. I did like those movies and whatnot, but I didn't know this much about it. There is a debate that the mutants in X-Men are not superheroes because they have a genetic defect that makes them mutants, and whereas superheroes tend to be like have super strength from like another planet, or they possess some artifact that makes them super strong, or whatever, what have you. So that's that debate.
Or get a super serum.
Yeah, like super serum. Like there's a debate among what makes a superhero, and so I'm like I'm not class enough for that debate, so I just put super in quotation marks. I don't want to offend those who say mutants are not superheroes, because what if we have a mutant on our list? I'm just saying. It's a possibility.
All right. And what if we? Yep. And I'll leave it there because we might get into something else there. But so Chris, I mean, how do you want to start this? Do you want to go with like our fives?
Yeah.
We go 5, 4, 3, 2.
Yeah.
Mention some honorable mentions and then go 1.
Yeah, let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, then honorable mentions. Because I don't have any honorable mentions. I couldn't think. I would have to like really rack my brain on those because there's a lot I left off this list because I'm like, oh boy, what about this guy? What about this guy? And the list would be too dang long.
And I'm gonna go ahead and be honest with you. A lot of mine are it's pretty Marvel heavy.
Shocker.
Seeing as like that's about the like. That's the majority of the superhero movies that I've seen.
Yep.
I haven't seen a ton. I mean, I've seen enough DC to, I don't know, hold a conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm not a comic book guy. Yeah.
Never had comic books, but I love the cartoons and everything. So that.
Yeah. So, well, yeah. I mean, and I was like probably pretty loose into the cartoons even. So.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go ahead and
take it off?
All right. See, I've been going round and round on my number 5, like since Monday or Sunday or whenever we started this topic. I'm just gonna go ahead and it's gonna be. Dang. All right.
Flip a coin.
I don't know, man. I don't know. All right. Scarlet Witch.
Okay. Okay. I respect it. I respect it. She's an interesting one. Interesting one because
so that and that's why like that was what it was for me is like I don't think she got. I mean, yeah, there was the whole WandaVision
yeah.
series that gave her some screen time, but I don't think she got necessarily all the screen time that would have done justice to the abilities that she had.
Yes.
So, and that's what kind of does it for me is like the time that she did, spend on screen, she was able to, destroy the Mind Stone, and she was for a time able to hold off or um, kind of threaten Thanos. And so some of that is like she's a powerful character that we just didn't get a lot out of. And so I think that's what does it for me is that's one that if we had a lot more screen time, as much screen time as like a Captain America or someone like that, we would have maybe been it might be even higher on some other more diehard superhero lists.
We'll see.
Possibly.
Well, see, the question is with Scarlet Witch is she superhero or supervillain? Because in the X-Men universe, she plays more of a villain, and she's originally a mutant, daughter of Magneto in some of the comic books, so she plays more of a villain in that world. And somewhere along the line, she transitions to a hero in the Avengers universe because Marvel kind of breeds together with X-Men and Avengers. So she's an interesting character. So she fits as a hero because in the Avengers world, she doesn't become a pseudo hero. And
that is what I'm basing this off of is the Avengers world. Because like I said, I don't have my X-Men experience is very, very little.
Yeah.
So I'm purely basing this off the MCU, the
Avengers
universe, and so based on that side of that, that's a character that I think is very strong and would have been shown very, to be much stronger.
Oh yes.
In some of those larger movies, had she been given the time. So that's why she's my number 5 and was almost off the list for some of the reasons that I just said. Is that she didn't get a lot of time to display that. But when she did, it was pretty convincing.
Oh yeah, and you wouldn't know her from X-Men movies because she doesn't appear in any X-Men movies ever. She's not in any of them from our lifetimes. She's in all the comic books and TV shows, but not in any of the movies. So it's a weird situation. So that's why, if you know more of the comic book, TV show type things, you'll know Scarlet Witch more differently than you do because you've seen the MCU version, which is a variation of Scarlet Witch.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, So I appreciate the insight there because I'm not super into a whole lot of other things outside of the MCU. Right. I mean, I dabble here and there, but I learned something new even about that and how much of that other side of her was in the comic books. Appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. So my number 5 is one that people might suggest is too low. I don't know, but number 5 is Charles Xavier or Professor X from X-Men. Because of his leading the X-Men, being the mentor, the telepathy, the master telepath who can use Cerebro to find all the X-Men, can take over your mind and control you, but he doesn't use it that way. And he's always looking at humanity's goodness, not their evilness, like Magneto, where Professor X sees humanity's angst about mutants or downright racism against mutants as just a frailty of theirs, not fearing the unknown, as opposed to them just being evil. He just says they just fear what they don't understand and what could hurt them, and he tries to show a better path. And I like that about him. And also in the movies, Patrick Stewart and James McAvoy killed it in those roles, which helps elevate the character a lot. And I think in Logan, when Professor X dies, I teared up. I teared up. I teared up because it was a shocker, and he's an awesome character. And I
haven't seen Logan.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Logan.
Oh, sorry.
That was a spoiler. It's all right.
It's like 10 years old. It's like 7 years old now.
I know,
sorry.
Really. When was it? 2017?
Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't know that you haven't seen
No,
Logan.
you're good.
Jeez. Spoiler alert.
I didn't have plans in the near future too.
I will have to show you Logan.
I was like, wait, whoa.
Logan's rated R, so you have to see it when the kids are asleep because it is more gory and more swearing than the other X-Men movies. So just a fair warning.
Fair enough.
Very good movie. it's probably the best X-Men movie that's been created.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Well, now it's on my watch list. Okay.
So,
awesome.
Professor X number 5. So he might be low.
Okay.
But he's
Cool.
number 5.
Cool. I like that. All right. Number 4 for me. I'm gonna go with one that I've just always liked the character and the variability of him is Thor.
Okay.
And a lot of these are just ones that I really kind of connected with them as they were on screen and appreciated them. So like kind of the whole roller coaster of Thor, the fall from grace, the rise back up, the loss that he's experienced, to then going into Ragnarok, where it was borderline a comedy, action movie, and then Fat Thor. And I know your feelings of Fat Thor.
I'm not a fan of Fat Thor. Sorry.
See, all right. So here's something though. Is like that's an attainable figure for me. So
Okay.
I can get to that. But then there's also the Hammer, the super buff dude, and all that. He super cool character for me, and the cool factor is kind of what put him on the top 5 for me.
I got you. Thor doesn't make my top 5. I don't know if he makes.
I know you are more of the superhero expert, I would say, of the two of us.
Of the two of us, yes, but I'm like I'm nowhere near everyone else. Sorry, I'm just of the two of us.
We should have had Hum one on.
We should have. Well, you might have to get him on the horn and say, "Hey, we just talked to top 5 superheroes. We might make a top 10 list. Can you just tell us how stupid we are and just get it over with?" But yeah.
Because that's probably what this is going to turn out to, is like 10 different characters.
Pretty much, because I can tell you, Thor wouldn't make my top 10 if I was making a top 10 list, and that's just because
I get that from someone who has more like superhero and comic and cartoon experience. It's
a different. There's more characters to pull from, so that's probably why Thor falls off my list. And
I have almost tunnel vision into Marvel. Yeah. That's my downside. That's my downside there. So.
Yeah, so number 4 is actually, Tom's going to be shocked about how low he is on my list. Green Arrow. I actually like Oliver Queen Green Arrow.
You did like Green Arrow, yeah.
I did. I love Green Arrow. Fantastic. Oliver Queen is essentially like a lighter version of Bruce Wayne. He's somewhere between Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark. And if you want to go with that route and how he's portrayed on TV shows and in comic books, I think. But he has more of a penchant for killing than Batman, so he doesn't have that qualm. He then loses that throughout the series. That he says, "No, I'm not killing anymore. I want to be better than that." So he does go through that character build where he goes from "I'm just an assassin who's just going to take out the target" to "No, I'm not killing. Done with that nonsense." And the TV show Arrow, if any of you guys have seen it, my thought is season 1 good, season 2 better, season 3 fantastic, season 4 what the F just happened to the TV show? It just sucked. And then 5 fixed it, 6 made it a little bit better, but I haven't watched season 7 and on because I always want to rewatch the previous season before I get into the next season. So I'm like, okay, here's where we're in the story, and I can't get past season 4. It's just that bad. Season 4 just stalls me every time. Like, this sucks. Why am I putting myself through this? I can't do it. I tell you. So I stop.
Is it almost like the second Thor movie for
yes,
you?
You
skip that one every time.
I have to. It's just that bad. It's like I can't do
it. I don't blame you. For being a fan of the character, I watch it, but the whole movie in general, I'm just like, we can skip to the next one in chronological order.
Yeah,
anyway.
like my complaint, my complaint about the TV series has nothing to do with Oliver Queen. It's about the whole concept of the season. That's my only complaint. Mm-hmm. The character, still love him, but it's the whole series. The whole season is just bad. It's the problem with it. It's just everything around him is just bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood. So, all right. Number 3, shocker at a Tom, another Marvel. What? Yeah. You might as well just call this my top 5. No, I throw a monkey wrench in here. Okay. The next one, but I'm a fan of Black Panther.
He's a good character
because that kind of falls into the realm of, like, someone who, like you had been talking about the do the mutants count? But this is one where he's taken the heart-shaped herb, or like someone else where they hold the gem,
Yeah.
a gem of
Yeah.
some sort to give them power, that sort of thing. It's almost like the super serum
Yeah.
sort of concept that gives him his super abilities. But you talk about someone who now has superhuman abilities
Mm-hmm.
and is in a bulletproof suit.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So and with all the awesome technology and advancements and things like that come out of Wakanda, I'm just like the whole Wakanda Black Panther kind of like rolled into one. That's kind of what does it for me. It's a bulletproof superhuman with access to a bunch of technology. That's a superhero to me. It's that in general, the whole concept of like um, taking something to give you the super human strength and abilities and all that quickness and all that sort of stuff, plus having lots of tech behind you to use. That's kind of a big advantage in being a superhero too.
Yeah, absolutely. Black Panther's a great character. He's not on my list because again, different.
I know.
But I do love the character. He's one of my favorites of the like Phase 3 characters. I believe he would be technically because he doesn't come until Civil War. So fantastic character.
Right.
Chadwick Boseman did the character justice. He was fantastic.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he passed away. So they're going to do someone else for Black Panther and go a new direction, which is just sad because he played the role so well. Is just
I know
it's a
that's what's so unfortunate is he was incredible in all the roles that he played.
Yeah.
He had a few sports roles and others as well. It's he was such a good actor that the world's missing.
Yeah.
His screen time, his ability to portray characters on screen is just it was unmatched in some degree.
Yeah, he was fantastic at every character he was asked to play, and he could do any character, which was fantastic. Okay, number 3 on my list. This is going to be from the Marvel universe, but not from the MCU. Oh. It's going to be from X-Men. This is Wolverine. Wolverine
I knew that was coming. Yeah.
He's one of my favorites. Tom knows I love Wolverine. I like the regeneration ability. The fact he was born with bone claws. He didn't have the metal; it was infused into him, and he survived because of his ability to regenerate. And he loses memory. He's been around since like the 1850s. Because of his ability to heal, he just never ages. It's a great story of seeing him before. He's like this. I know X-Men Origins Wolverine, they portray him as this like. He's just a fighter, and he just goes to fight in every war in American history because that's just what he does. That's the only thing he knows how to do is to fight. And then he loses memory. Mm-hmm. He becomes kind of this like roguish, like PTSD victim who just he goes nuts and just solves things by killing people because he's like, I got these claws. I'm just gonna kill people who get in my way. And he's just like, all right. He just is dark. He becomes dark. He then gets saved by the X-Men. Charles Xavier meets him, and then they kind of restore him to closer to what he was before he lost his memory. And it's a great story. And it doesn't hurt that Hugh Jackman, or I like to jokingly call him Huge Jackman, plays the character because he just is jacked every time. He's kind of just bigger. Eventually, he's going to be like Brock Lesnar walking out as Wolverine. At one point, I expect him, but like he played the role so well. He looks like a Wolverine, like in the comic books. Like, oh my gosh, he actually looks like the character and stuck with it the whole time. Played it perfectly. I don't know how you have Wolverine in any other movies until you have like 25 years of no Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Because he just played the character so well.
You gotta almost like forget him in that character,
which you
for a while.
Won't be able to do.
Right, exactly. He's so iconic. Yeah. Something about some of those scenes that he's in where he just looks like ripped to shreds. A lot of the times for those scenes, actors will more or less dehydrate themselves for 3 days. Won't touch a drop of water for 3 days and or so. I don't know, 2-3 days, and then right before shooting, they'll do a big carb intake. They'll have like bread or sugar or something like that, basically to get their veins to pop because now everything that's shrunk down, now their veins are like juiced up with the carbs that are flowing through their bodies. And that's kind of how you get those like iconic like Wolverine veiny Abby scenes, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, that's kind of. I mean, Jason Momoa talked about it with Aquaman too. Just like that's the whole process that goes into getting characters to look like that for basically 10 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane that they do that. I mean, and Hugh Jackman kept he was not a small guy to begin with. He used to play. I think he played rugby in Australia, so he wasn't a small guy. He just would get bigger for Wolverine, and then shrink back down to be like a more normal human for
roles like The Greatest Showman.
Right. He doesn't need to be more normal. He wasn't as large. He was just more.
Right. He was just, normal large person.
Yeah,
size,
normal large person. He wasn't just like, I'm so ripped and I can, and yeah. So Hugh Jackman is what made Wolverine just go over the top for me.
I like that. That's a good pick. I wish I would have thought of that. Because again, blinders for most of the time. Can I just kick Thor off and throw Wolverine there? That I'm gonna do that.
Okay, that's
because this is our show, and everything's made up and the points don't matter. So all right, see ya, Chris Hemsworth. I'm taking a different Aussie.
Okay. All right.
Because we can.
Yeah.
All right, my number 2 is Superman.
Ooh. Okay. Interesting.
I think almost my whole life I have been kind of just a Superman fan, like not necessarily closet Superman fan or mega fan, anything like that, but I've always just been like, you talk about superheroes, Superman is one of the first that comes to mind in general for most people. You think about like someone who's super strong or super fast or can fly or whatever, like, oh man, it's Superman. Yeah. Look at Superman over there. He's I mean, even talking about guys in the gym, when you're lifting for football, baseball, whatever, like, oh yeah, the guys that got a bunch of weight on their look, Superman's over there killing it. It's just like kind of like the iconic superhero for me. So because again, it's the super strength, the flying, the laser eyes, and then in the original with Christopher Reeves, turning back time, even though that necessarily wouldn't really work.
It's comic book science.
If we're gonna start picking things apart like that, then
time travel.
Exactly.
Avengers Endgame. I picked that apart to death.
Avengers Endgame. Yeah, there we go.
That whole movie doesn't exist.
Right. But I think I'm trying to remember what grade I was in, maybe like 5th grade or something like that. I actually wrote a paper on maybe it was 6th, 7th grade. I wrote a paper on Christopher Reeves, the individual, and so him being was it quadriplegic is where you're is it neck down or is that paraplegic?
I think that's that's quadriplegic because
right, and kind of like his whole journey from being Superman on screen to now being in a different world but still being a role model for many, and so that was kind of like cool for me. Is like I was looking at Superman from a different lens even at that age, for just educational purposes. But I've always liked the character. I think Henry Cavill does a good Superman just from the the average person's perspective, maybe not by the super fans' perspective, but I appreciated him in the times that I've seen him in that role too.
Okay, Superman, shocker, is not on my list, and not because I like. If we were going to do top 5 superheroes of all time, like just in general, taking out personal opinions, he would be like number 1 because he's like you said, he is the Superman. He is everyone's superhero. Yeah. He doesn't make my list because he's not one of my favorites. To me, he's white bread. It's Superman. Okay, yeah, he's super fast, super strong. He's invincible. He can shoot lasers. Okay, what's he gonna do? Fire a nuclear missile off his butt? I mean, what else does he? What other powers does he need? Like, it's not as interesting to me as a superhero. So he's like, I'm not like in wrestling. I'm not a John Cena fan. I don't like John Cena. It's like, okay, 5 moves of doom. All right, he won the match. Yay! All right, I'm bored. I want to see the.
You can almost expect it.
You expect it to happen. Like, okay, Superman's about to die, and his one weakness is a rock. He's weak to a rock. Okay.
That's all right.
That's
sure.
It's my pet peeve. It's my pet peeve with Superman. Like, okay.
But again, he's from another planet.
I know. Yeah, which it makes sense that he's weak to kryptonite. Like, okay, yeah, he's from another planet. His weakness is the rock. It's like, all right, fine. But
That's another. All right, that's another thing. Just going from like iconic lines and things like that is you talk about someone's weakness, even just in everyday life, you'll either say, "Oh, it's their weakness, it's their Achilles heel,
yep,
or it's their kryptonite."
right, I get it.
It's one of those three, and so
Right.
like it's just the fact that the everyday reference still
Yep.
pulls in,
Right.
that Superman
No,
stuff. So
no,
that's for me is it's the iconic nature of everything
no,
that's
no.
Superman.
It makes sense. Your ranking system is probably better than mine would. Mine is because mine is more or less. I just don't like the character. It's just it's just like
He's Superman is too blah.
it's like It's like if you were to draw a superhero, it would be Superman because he has all
Right.
the abilities. So it's like it makes
Yeah.
sense. It makes sense, but it's like I was also like okay, yeah, but there's you've lost all the creativity of telling the story by just making him just the perfect superhero, which is why I'm not the
Okay.
biggest Captain Marvel fan. Even if you discount Brie Larson playing Captain Marvel, I'm like Captain Marvel's like the Marvel version of Superman. It's like okay, yes, super powerful. Yeah, all right. I'm bored again. I need more.
I'm bored again.
I need something
That's
compelling.
good.
Like my number
Okay.
2 superhero is Batman. He's Batman.
Oh, really?
Batman's number 2. I'm a huge Batman fan. I love Batman. He's because he's not a superhero. He is just a rich guy who's nuts.
Okay.
He's a rich man who's nuts. That's the P. Holmes line from the Batman series of College Humor. I'm rich and nuts. That's it. Rich and nuts. And
You're not wrong.
he's not wrong. I mean, he goes through losing his parents at a young age as they get murdered right in front of him. It goes through this dark path he has to save. He then goes off on his own and joins organized crime or runs with criminals to understand why they do what they do. Becomes a member of the League of Shadows and has to defeat Ra's al Ghul. The character has more depth in my mind, so I like the Batman with the depth, the gadgets, the fact that he tries. I mean, the great play if he's Bruce Wayne, the like Tony Stark, where Tony Stark's just the rich guy who's got all the fancy stuff, and then is also Iron Man. But Batman tries to hide the fact he's Batman, which I think is awesome. He's just is two completely different people, and
See, I lump them in together.
see,
That's where I differ is like up until that point of what you just said about like Batman is kind of hides the fact that he's Batman behind the scenes, and Tony Stark is on center stage with a spotlight. Up until that point, they are the exact same character.
like they're
Both are rich. Both have lost their parents,
Yeah.
and it affects them daily. And both have massive enterprises that fund
Yeah.
their superhero activities
right, and both have a butler.
and have cool stuff.
Both have
Yeah.
a butler. Jarvis is initially
Jarvis is a butler. But
is
yeah.
initially a butler. He's not a atomic. I don't think he's an actual like robot like he is in the movies in the comic books. But you can correct me if I'm wrong, super fans. But they're essentially the same character. But Batman's got the darker personality. You see the mental aspect that of loss that he's dealing with more clearly than Tony. Tony, you don't see it as much. It's not as clear. It affects him.
He has his own coping mechanism
Right.
of now trying to be the center
You're right.
of the universe almost in some
So
senses.
Huge Batman fan. I love the Batman TV shows. I watched the 92-95 Batman TV show. I watched Batman Beyond, which is like after Bruce Wayne, and he's just mentoring the next Batman. I like Batman.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
I actually still have
don't
my
wanna
Batman piggy bank that I've had since grade
Really,
school.
I think I see it poking
Yeah,
out.
I
Back
have-
there.
yeah.
And I'll tell you that's Batman is probably my cousin's favorite superhero as well. He has Batman everything still. I think I always remember growing up. He had like the toys, the costumes, things like that, and then
Yeah, I
when we
dressed
got
as
older,
Batman
it
for
was
Halloween.
the graphic tees, the belt buckle, the belt, the wallet.
Yeah.
I
My
mean,
wallet is
and
a
again,
Batman wallet.
I like Batman too. It just wasn't a finalist for me.
No, he's
Because in a sense, I couldn't get over the fact that he was so similar in my mind anyway to Tony Stark,
he is.
and yeah, I couldn't get over that. That was what did it for
I
me.
hear it's a tough hurdle. It's a tough hurdle because I've watched Batman before I've ever seen Iron Man. I disassociate the two. Like, okay, yes, they're
Okay.
both rich alter egos, but one is darker and is actively trying not to kill people, and Iron Man is just running around just causing mayhem.
True.
All right, number one, sir.
One's behind the scenes. One has a monument built in the skies with his name plastered. Son of a gun.
Well, they both have names.
I know. The line from Avengers.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what I'm
it is. Yeah, that's true.
Stark Tower. If you're missing that reference.
And
anyway.
Wayne Tower is kind of like I always joke it's the emphasis for Trump Tower in Chicago because it's literally the L goes right to Trump Tower. Like Wayne Tower has everything go in through it. It's like, okay, Trump saw that and wanted that in Chicago. Okay, we get it.
Well, I mean, and wasn't Gotham kind of loosely modeled after Chicago, based somewhat similarly?
In the first movie, it's almost primarily shot in Chicago. The comic book is kind of like it's an amalgamation of Chicago, New York, Pittsburgh. It's more like Chicago, Pittsburgh. Not really like Metropolis is more like New York City. Gotham's got Chicago, Pittsburgh vibes to it.
Right, a little bit more industrial than New York City. Yeah. So
not as clean.
Yeah. Right. Not that we're necessarily calling New York City clean, but it's a different level of dirty. How about that? So, do you want to do some honorable mentions?
Yeah, it's honorable mentions. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I mentioned two of mine already: Batman, Iron Man, because to me they were too similar in the general makeup of the character. I just kind of lumped them together again. I said I couldn't get over that, and that was what did it for me. But I have 4 other honorable mentions, and it is because they are they don't have super abilities or super. They're not superheroes. They're not supers. They're not mutants. They're not specials, whatever you want to call them. And those will be Black Widow.
Okay, yeah. She's
but again, like normal humans is basically kind of what I'm going off of. Black Widow, Hawkeye, while he does have, the super ability to shoot the arrows, he's still just a normal human. He doesn't have any special powers by any, stretch of the imagination. Punisher, Frank Castle. Again, just a guy, but almost like it's not really even like a superhero or a hero. He's almost like that anti-hero.
Yeah.
Where he's
your
got
Batman,
this general,
your Wolverines, your Green Arrows, those guys. Yeah.
That general movement in the right direction, but it just may not be through the right means, like killing people along the way.
It's what in the role-playing game, what you would call chaotic good. He does good. He's just chaotic about going about it.
Exactly. And my last superhero, and this is a stretch here, and this is where my wife kind of disagreed, and that's why it now is an honorable mention. John McClane.
Oh, John McClane. I love these.
Because when you can take down a team of Germans with just a Beretta and a wife beater T-shirt, like that, it's just that's super.
I accept that as a non-superhero that makes his list because he's awesome. I
know he's awesome, and I had to throw that in there. If I'm gonna throw a bunch of just normal humans in there, I'm just gonna throw John McClane.
I accept that as a valid point, as an honorable mention, and I agree with Morgan. He shouldn't be on the list, but I agree he should be an honorable mention because of how awesome he is as a character. Okay.
I almost put him as my number 5. That's what I was going back and forth. I was do I just do that and just be like, really radical with my list here?
Well, broke the internet. We did that. Jeez.
Number 5, John McClane. And you're just like, I quit. I'm done.
Okay, now we're done. We don't have a show anymore. The internet just destroyed us. Okay. So honorable mentions.
Hey, clickbait.
That would be clickbait. Yeah. So number 5.
I think we found our thumbnail. John McClane.
Oh my God! Yes. Well, that's all right. Thumbnail's gonna be John McClane. Book it, people. I'm going to find John McClane and put him as a thumbnail. All right. Yes. So, honorable mentions: Storm from X-Men. Storm is a fantastic character. Very, very good character. Halle Berry does a great job of Storm in X-Men 1 and 2. X-Men 3, which is a just bad movie. Overall, it's just a bad movie. I didn't like her change in hairstyle. She went more like a modern pixie hairstyle. I'm just not a fan.
Okay. All right.
It's just like the character, great character overall, but it's just like the X-Men 3 not great, and like what they did with her in the new X-Men movies, not Damn, it wasn't my favorite. But I do like Storm. I would throw in there Falcon. I liked Falcon. Falcon was one of my favorites from the MCU. I liked Falcon. This is not the diss like Thor, Iron Man, but I like the Falcon Captain America camaraderie here. So I did enjoy Falcon. And Wonder Woman would also be an honorable mention. Wonder Woman is a fantastic superhero. That was a very close one for me too. Yeah. I like the Wonder Woman character in all the Justice League TV shows and the Justice League movie. I've not seen her in like the actual live play movies because I just after watching Batman vs Superman, I was just done. Like I'm not giving DC any chances anymore to hurt me with movies. So I know Wonder Woman's a good movie. I just haven't seen it because I'm like I don't want to be hyped up and then to watch it and go, not really sure if that's a good movie or not. So I will try to watch it. I know 1940.
I will say if you go into it with the expectation that it's going to live up to your MCU, standards, you're going to be disappointed.
Yep.
But if you go into this thinking, I think this is going to be good for Wonder Woman, then I think then you'll be good.
Well, Wonder Woman should be a good movie anyway. I'm just wondering if it's going to be a good movie because DC has shot themselves in the foot with their movies, and that's been my qualm with them. Like you guys have these great characters.
All right, now I haven't seen. Is it Wonder Woman 1985 or the new
1984? I've heard that one's bad. I've heard that one's bad.
I have not. I've not seen that, and
I just heard it's trash.
The first one, I think it could have been done better. Again, I was coming in to that one, like fresh out of all that was like 2017, 2018 that I saw that for the first time. After having, I think it was one of the times that you and I binged all the
because we're preparing
Marvels,
for Infinity War,
and so and so I was going into it with like, okay, I've just seen all those other superhero movies. Like this is clearly got to be just as good, but I'd say for a DC movie, it was pretty well executed.
All right, so
executed.
Yeah, so if I do see, I'm hoping it hits like Captain America's the first Avenger like vibes, where it's like, okay, very good movie. If you like origin stories, you'll like it. If you're not, you probably won't be as high on it. So I'm hoping that if I watch it, I get that vibe from it. And
there really wasn't a whole lot of an origin story though. That was the thing for me, is like it kind of it jumped into it a little bit. All right, here's also the thing for me. I don't think DC villains are, at least in the movies, are well executed.
Yeah, the villains.
And that's what does it for me. Like the hero Gal Gadot does a great job as Wonder Woman. I don't think the plot line for the villain was really good enough to live up to the character of Wonder Woman. That's where I stand. It's like the Ares character, and then in the Justice League, the whatever his big horn guy was.
I don't know.
I don't know his name, but just poorly executed in that regard.
Yeah, see,
but the character of Wonder Woman was actually well done.
See, that's the thing though, because I know from watching the comic books or watching the TV shows, like I thought the DC villains were always better than the Marvel villains in like the animated series. Like, okay, the actual Joker is the best villain of all time. And that's
okay. All right, Joker aside, Joker, and I will even throw Bane in there as the anomalies. I'm talking like the general
DC villains.
There are exceptions to every rule. But
it might just be that Batman villains are just that good. It might just be the Batman villains are just that good that they're like all the villains I can think of. Like, these are all Batman villains. Maybe that's saying something about my level of villains.
Right. It's the newer villains that are not really doing it.
Or the villains of other superheroes we're struggling with. Like the Batman villains are just like they're just good. Like, oh my gosh, this guy's creepy. This guy's scary. This guy is just creepy and scary. And like, okay, these guys understand that this is a dark movie. Just play a dark character and be done with it.
Exactly.
All right, so hit us with number one, Tom, on your list.
I'm going to go, and this shouldn't be a surprise to you because you and I have had that conversation before. Captain America.
All right, we're done here. We agree.
We're done here?
We have an agreement.
Agree? All right, we agree on one. Awesome.
We're done.
So, iconic. That was probably the first Marvel character, superhero character outside of Superman that I really was like, that's like, that's the modern man's superhero. It's not just the can fly and throw cars and all that sort of stuff. It's the origin story of Captain America is what kind of did it for me. Is like he was a normal guy and got the opportunity to be extraordinary.
Right. Yeah, I agree, and that's why people are like, "Chris, you don't like Superman, but you like Captain America. Don't they have like the same virtues and everything?" But Captain America became Captain America because he got an opportunity, because of his good heart and his good nature. It's like, okay, I can buy that. It's the little guy fighting the bullies because now he has the strength to take out the bullies. So like I like that aspect of it. And Chris Evans does a fantastic job as Captain America.
Oh, yeah.
I love the Captain America in the TV shows, in the movies. I know that people might complain about how the Civil War storyline in the movies isn't in line with the Civil Wars in the comic books. They couldn't do that because of the first Iron Man movie. That threw away the whole premise of Civil War right from the get-go. They couldn't do that whole premise because Tony Stark went out on stage and said, I am Iron Man. That killed the whole premise of the Civil War comic book. So for Tom, Civil War in the comic books was the superheroes fighting over whether or not they should list their secret identities because that was not known at the time. And Captain America was fighting to protect the identities. Tony Stark saying we should reveal who we are. That's the that's the impetus of Civil War in the comic books. The problem is that first Iron Man movie said, I am Iron Man. Well, screw that. Now we know who everyone is.
that was RDJ saying screw this.
Yeah. It's like, right.
that was improv.
Oh,
they just decided to keep it.
Oh,
that line was improv, and they decided to keep it. So it was partially just RDJ, like doing that, but then also
is a great read
whoever in charge of.
It's a perfect read of Tony Stark's character. That's like the perfect read of who the character is.
Yeah, it is.
But the problem is like you screw up like further stories by leaving that in there.
Right. You're right. You're right. And yeah, you can't come back from that once it's out there. It's out there.
But I agree. Captain America, my favorite, and which is
I like the development, how it kind of goes from like the he goes from the virtuous character and then to what is it? Nomad is kind of the
Nomad,
character that he becomes
known
as when he's in Wakanda, and
where he just disassociates with America because he thinks America's lost its values, and and they don't represent him anymore. So he says,
I like that, and then humorous along the way. Again, he's just a normal guy who got the opportunity to be super, and so there's humor. There's all the normal characters of a human being in him, not just stone faced. I have one job. I am robot. Right. That sort of thing. Language. And then to go from that to then in Endgame, let's go get this son of a
whoa, language. Or that is America's butt.
So that may be one of my just the fact that he kind of looks around like, you know what? Yeah, it is. I love it. I love it. So identifiable character too. Even if I'm not, 6'3" and ripped, like it just the variability. Again, kind of going back to some of that variability in Thor too. That's identifiable. In at least the characteristics. That's kind of what did it for me for. At least a couple on my list.
Oh, and that's actually a point to point out with Captain America as well as Superman. Captain America disassociates with the establishment and says, no, I'm not going to do that because you want me to do that. Mm-hmm. Superman would just say, oh, fine. The United States says I should do this. I'm going to do this then. Captain America says, no, I have this principle and I disagree with what you're saying. I'm going to go say, screw you. I'm doing this anyway because this is the right thing to do. Darn what you say.
Right. Yeah, and that's evident, in several storylines.
Winter Soldier, where he just says, okay, well, screw S.H.I.E.L.D., they're wrong. I'm going to tell you they're wrong, and they're going to tear it down.
Civil War, too.
Civil War, yep.
So.
Even in the first Captain America movie, he disobeys direct orders to not go across enemy lines to save the POW.
That's right.
He's like,
that's
nope.
right. He's like, nah, I can't do that, man.
Yeah, like, okay, all right, Cap, you are just disobeying orders left, right, and center. But you're doing the right thing. Congratulations, Cap.
So I've always liked Captain America since I think that first excuse me, the first Avenger movie. That was kind of like what did it for me.
Yeah, I agree. That's what did it for me. I think going in, I was more of a Captain America fan. Then I watched it. Okay, we got Captain America. We're good. We're rolling.
And that again, a lot of my like real knowledge of superheroes is starting with those movies, like the early MCU Phase 1 movies. Like that's kind of what got me into them. And so I don't even recall any prior Captain America.
There really weren't any
cartoon.
There really weren't any
Captain America. If there was, was there even
no, during our age? No, I can't remember any. No. They started making those like Avengers TV shows with Captain America in them, like after the first movie came out, but they didn't really do that prior that I can think of. They might have, but I can't think of any that would happen in our lifetime. So
Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, so there's our top 5 and some honorable mentions.
Yeah.
You can tell us
Please pick us
exactly
apart.
where we went wrong. Yeah, I mean, especially me. I know I am what you would call the average moviegoer, the average superhero fan, because I don't have the in depth knowledge of some of the um, you know, origin stories, some of the other. I don't have a large knowledge of superheroes. It's a lot of it. Like I said, I have kind of tunnel vision for the MCU because that's where a lot of my interest has fallen in the last 10, 12 years.
Right, and I know that people are going to be upset. Neither of us said Spider-Man. Neither of us said Deadpool. We left those two guys off our list and honorable mention. So like, there's going to be a lot of hate coming our way.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
especially since some of the lists that I found online, people were putting Spider-Man at number 1 in the top
people
100.
love Spider-Man, and I'm like, I don't get it. He got bit by a spider, and now he's a superhero. I don't get it. I'm sorry, you lost me. I got bit by a spider, and now I'm superpower. I'm sorry, I can't get by the. I know I'm a wrestling fan, so I'm really good at suspending reality. But you get bit by a spider, now you're a superhero. You lost me there. Everyone else has at least, I was injected with some steroids, and now I'm a superhero. Or I'm from another planet, now I have superheroes. Or I'm some mythical god, and now I'm a superhero. Or I'm just some rich guy who's nuts. These all make
rich guy who's nuts.
These guys, these ones make sense. Everything else, like, I got bit by a spider. Head scratcher.
That's not even what does it for me. I don't know. I can't put a finger on why I don't like Spider-Man. Maybe because in our lifetime alone, we've seen 3 Spider-Mans.
Tobey
Maybe
Maguire is probably the best. Is probably the best of them. Even though Tom Holland is giving a good run for his money right now. Tom Holland has been fantastic as Spider-Man.
I think if Tom Holland, if there are more Spider-Man movies to make, or more roles for him to play in movies in Spider-Man as Spider-Man, excuse me, I think he can. But for me, like that was, I mean, Tobey Maguire was the first Super Spider-Man I knew. So
he is
that was
There's been several before him,
of,
but they weren't good from what I've been told. It was like Tobey Maguire was like the first like great Spider-Man actor. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right.
Andrew Garfield was.
I didn't watch those. I got a bad vibe. I had bad juju's watching
it. I watch them when they're on TV and I can't find anything else to watch.
Gotcha.
It's kind of just like The Amazing Spider-Man. Okay, sure.
Yeah. I've not seen them, guys. Sorry, I'm just not a big Spider-Man guy. Unless you're going to tell me Spider-Man's part of a bigger storyline in the MCU, I'm probably not going to watch just Spider-Man on his own. Sorry, guys.
I haven't watched Homecoming. I watched like 20 minutes of Homecoming, but it was just, again, it was on TV and I had other stuff to do. Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home, I haven't seen any of them.
I haven't seen No Way Home.
The only roles I've seen Tom Holland as Spider-Man is in the other Marvel movies.
I mean, I haven't seen No Way Home. That one I've heard is fantastic. I just haven't watched it. I just need to watch it. Because, again, it says Spider-Man. Like, it's a Spider-Man movie. Darn it! I can't. I get past that. It's just it says Spider-Man. There's other people in the movie besides Spider-Man. Let's get over that. Because, so that's just sorry, guys. Spider-Man, Deadpool did not make our list, and I know we're gonna get hate for that, but and I didn't have Superman at my top 5, but so be it. We're not the normal comic book guys.
And the Thing wasn't on your list. I'm just throwing around.
I never really watched Fantastic Four. I know who they are. I just didn't like watch the movie, so I just didn't. I don't know. I watched and didn't really catch my fancy as a high school.
I just wanted to get you going on Fantastic Four. That's all. I didn't
really watch them. I've not seen like I've maybe seen like 10 minutes in total of the Fantastic Four movies. I mean that could be a fault on my part, but
I can't. I mean, I think I have. I probably have. I don't think I knew what I was watching when I was watching them, though.
Yeah. that might not be a bad thing.
That's how bad that is. It's like, and because it was before I was like, hey, here's a superhero movie. I'm going to watch it. It's just kind of like, oh, hey, this again. It's on TV. I'm just gonna throw it on
Yeah, I think it was
while I'm doing laundry.
I think they were made. I think they were made around the same time as Batman, and everyone's like, and you weren't going to do a superhero movie and compete with Batman. Sorry.
Batman, Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I know. You're not competing with Batman. You're not competing with even the X-Men movies. They don't compete with Batman. Batman was better than all of them. Batman was the superhero movie.
That's true.
So that might.
So you can go ahead and pick apart our list, knowing full well that we are not the biggest experts on superheroes out there. I would really be interested to see what Hamawan says about not about our list necessarily, but like what his is, because like he's who I would consider our like resident expert on superheroes, like superhero movies, comics, and all that sort of stuff. Like he's the guy we always went to the movies with, the Marvel movies when they came out. Like he was the guy. Yeah.
So we might have to just get him on another episode after we come back from our hiatus and say, hey, we did our top 5 superheroes individually. We're gonna make a top 10 list. Can you tell us how stupid we are on camera so we know that we're stupid?
Especially on camera. Let's just put it all out there for the world to see.
Let us know we're idiots. I want to hear it. I want to hear how bad our list is and how it's just movie related. It has nothing to do with the actual comic books. Please tell us that.
That's 100% what it all is. It's all about the movies.
Yeah.
And recent movies to that.
So. But
anyway, Chris, take it away.
Yeah, sorry guys, we're a little long-winded with this episode, as we knew we would be. Tom actually made the smart suggestion saying we just do this as our main topic because we would talk about this for an hour, which we have. So please follow our Facebook page regarding for your updates for the show. Tom always lets you guys know when we're recording or when we're about to record. And you also email us at sports and more with ctkelty@gmail.com. If you have questions regarding the show, Nick, let us know either on Facebook, YouTube, whatever. Just kill us on this list.
And I know you'll appreciate that thumbnail too.
Yes. Oh gosh.
You can also go to Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, anywhere that you want to either view or listen to this episode. It's going to be there. And all the future episodes we create are going to all those platforms. If you want to listen to our original Marvel discussion, because we talked about Marvel movies too, if you want, you're on a superhero kick. That was episode 2, all the way back from July.
Yeah, recorded with episode 1, by the way. It was
recorded with episode 1 with Nick Hamawan. Back in July of 2020. So we're going on a year and a half since we've done that one. But again, being one of the OGs, maybe you can check it out, see how far we've come. Again, our taste in characters probably hasn't changed much since then.
Nope.
But if you're watching this on YouTube, click all the buttons all around you.
All
and just all of them. I'm just not even going to point. I'm just going to do that. Just click them all and, send this to whoever you want, share it, and get them on the horn with you, with your experts that you know about superheroes, and see what where your characters land and where they are compared to ours.
Yeah, and we like to thank all of you, probably the tens and tens of people for listening to it. We just thanks and rips on all things superhero related, because that's very much what we talked about was Batman and other superheroes. So thank you for that and putting up with our probably not good list.
Yeah, thank you for putting up with us for the last hour. And Chris, this was a top 5. It was well thought out, but we can shake hands and agree to disagree on some of these, and unlike Juwan Howard from Michigan, we won't have to fight each other over something petty. So
no, we don't care about this that much.
Anyway, and I that was small reference.
Yep. No,
there, but our next episode's creation date is to be decided. We're going to take a couple of weeks off. We got some things in our personal lives coming up over the next couple of weeks that we just want to attend to. So we'll come back probably mid to late March. And again, keep an eye on the Facebook page for that. We'll give you an update when we know more. But until that time, as always, stay safe, stay healthy, watch for ice, watch for deer, and above all, stay free.
Sports That and more with Chris and Tom is brought to you by no one. All non-original thoughts and ideas were properly noted during each segment.